After returning home, I immediately noticed something was wrong with my driveway. My septic access cover had completely disappeared under fresh asphalt. Sitting on top of it was my neighbor's massive RV. That was the moment I knew this wasn't an accident. I had owned this property for over 15 years. Everyone on the street knew exactly where my septic access point was located. Even my neighbor had seen it countless times before. When I confronted him, he laughed and said I wasn't using that space anyway. According to him, his RV needed a wider parking area. Apparently, my septic system had become his parking solution. I showed him the property survey documents immediately. The septic access cover was clearly marked on my property plans. He refused to even look at them. That's when I decided to document everything. Photos, measurements, and timestamps would become very important later. I wasn't going to let this become a simple neighborhood dispute. The next morning, I called a septic system specialist. His reaction told me everything I needed to know. Repairing this damage wouldn't be cheap. He explained that septic access points are designed for maintenance and emergency repairs. Covering one with asphalt can create serious and expensive problems, especially when heavy vehicles are parked directly on top. My neighbor doubled down and told me to stop being dramatic. He claimed I was making a big deal out of a small driveway improvement. He couldn't have been more wrong. After speaking with local officials, I learned there were several property and utility issues involved. The situation had become much more serious than my neighbor realized. Documentation was now on my side. The repair estimate came back at nearly $16,000. Removing the asphalt and restoring the septic access wasn't optional. Someone was going to pay for it. The contractor marked the exact location of the buried access point. There was no doubt the asphalt had been poured directly over my septic system. Every inch of the damage was now professionally documented. The evidence continued to pile up. I spent the evening reviewing my property's septic records. Everything matched the original site plans from years ago. My neighbor couldn't claim he didn't know what he had covered. This was going to become an expensive mistake. I requested a second professional opinion just to be safe. Both contractors reached the same conclusion within minutes. The access cover had to be restored immediately. There were no shortcuts available. Before taking further action, I gave my neighbor one final opportunity. I simply asked him to help pay for the repairs. I wanted to settle everything like responsible neighbors. He refused without hesitation. He laughed and told me to take him to court if I wanted my money. He was convinced I wouldn't follow through. According to him, I was wasting everyone's time. He was about to regret that attitude. The county inspector completed his site visit the following week. He documented everything from the asphalt coverage to the vehicle load concerns. His report supported the contractor's findings. My case had become even stronger. Documentation became my greatest advantage. Every conversation, receipt, and inspection report was carefully organized. I knew facts always speak louder than emotions. Preparation matters. Soon, several neighbors began sharing what they had witnessed during the paving work. More people confirmed the RV project had been planned in advance. Their statements helped establish a clear timeline. The truth was becoming impossible to deny. The repair proposal included asphalt removal and septic access restoration. The estimate totaled nearly $16,000. Unfortunately, delaying repairs could increase the cost even further. Waiting was an option. At that point, I knew I had done everything reasonably possible. I attempted communication and obtained professional evaluations. Now it was time to protect my property. The next steps would follow the proper process. Ironically, my neighbor suddenly became interested in moving his RV. Once he realized professionals had documented the damage, his confidence began to fade. Actions always have consequences. He was finally taking the situation seriously. The contractor explained the safest restoration procedure. The asphalt would need to be carefully removed to avoid damaging the septic components underneath. Precision work isn't cheap. Quality repairs never are. Preparation for the repair work officially began. Every measurement was taken according to professional standards. There would be no guesswork involved. Everything was being done properly. The final repair estimate confirmed the total cost. Between labor, materials, and restoration, the expenses were substantial. Unfortunately, preventable property damage is rarely inexpensive. Someone would be responsible for making things right. I decided to consult a property attorney to better understand my options. He reviewed the documents and complimented my preparation. Good records make difficult situations easier to resolve. Organization pays off. After reviewing the evidence, we prepared the necessary paperwork. Everything would proceed through the appropriate legal channels, if required. There was nothing personal about it. It was simply about property rights and accountability. My neighbor's expression changed completely when he received formal notice regarding the damages. Suddenly, throughout the entire process, I remained calm and professional. My goal was never revenge. I simply wanted my property restored to its original condition. Nothing more and nothing less. Restoration work finally began. Watching the asphalt being removed was surprisingly satisfying. The septic access cover was slowly uncovered once again. Progress at last. After weeks of inspections and repairs, my septic access was finally restored. The total repair cost came to nearly $16,000. One expensive lesson later, my neighbor learned that respecting property boundaries matters, and I got my driveway back exactly as it should be. With the repairs finally completed, I could finally relax. My property was restored exactly as it had been before. The entire experience taught me the importance of documenting everything. Good preparation makes all the difference.